our Vegas Golden Knights versus the Winnipeg Jets. So I don't want to say too much on this because I feel like I should be passing the floor over to you here, JP, but I'm going to say a couple of things.
No, I want to hear it. Yeah, go for it, man.
So the 2 times you've played the Winnipeg Jets this season, you've beaten them both times. One was close. Both were in October as well. I don't know if they've played them again since. I looked through the schedule. I couldn't see it, but they certainly beat them twice in October.
They faced them both early in the season, I think.
Yeah. I think the Winnipeg Jets are the weakest team in the Western Conference that made the playoffs. I'm not saying they're a weak team before someone says, yeah, but they've got... they made the 16, right? That's hard to do. With Vegas and Seattle, making the playoffs is now harder than it's ever been to do. But of the teams in the West, I just don't... Them and Seattle are the 2 weakest teams, but I think Winnipeg are probably the weakest team. But what Winnipeg do have that Seattle don't, and why I think this series could go either way, is Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah. Yep.
That guy he's Vesna quality, right? He is amazing. Right. He does not have an off night. He is outstanding. And that's going to be a big factor in this series. Stone's 100%. Health is going to be a big factor in this series, and I'll let you come on to that in a minute. Health in general is going to be a big factor in this series. And the thing I want to see is, can Jack Eichel do it in the postseason? Can he be the player, the point per game player that he was in the regular season? Can he be, like we said about Connor McDavid being that next level? That's what we need. I'm going to say we for this bit. That's what we need from Eichel. You know, we need Riley Smith to produce. We need Marcia Show. We need all those guys, Theodore, et cetera, et cetera. But you need somebody who, when the game is 1-1 and you need a goal, is going to drag the team by the scruff of their jerseys and get you that goal. And that's what elite players do. And that's what Jack Eichel needs to do. If he can do that, it's no surprise I've got Vegas going through. As I would like you to all continue listening to this podcast. And I do truly believe it. But I've got Vegas in 6. This is going to be a long series, guys.
Yeah. I think I'm with you. Vegas in 6, possibly 5, but I think 6 is probably more realistic.
Get those rose-tinted glasses off, my friend.
It's probably 6 is more realistic. But I think it, like you said, I think it will all be about Connor Hellebuck.
Yes.
If he's in good form, expect it to be a longer series. If Connor Hellebuck has a bad couple of games, this series will probably be over more quickly in a game less, or even I don't think it's going to be a sweep. Connor Hellebuck would have to totally choke, and they'd have to pull him, but I think 6 is probably the average, the most realistic prediction. I totally agree with you. This is about Connor Hellebuck and Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel has shown that he can be that difference maker. He's had a lot of big overtime moments in the regular season where he was a difference maker. Now, obviously, we know regular season OT is very different than playoff OT, but it shows his poise. It shows his ability to kind of take the reins and make something happen. Totally agree with you. I mean, in other news, most Knights fans that are listening are already going to know this, but it's pretty significant that Mark Stone started playing and practicing in a no contact jersey about midway through last week or towards the end of last week. And now he's been cleared for contact. So he's actually had a practice with contact. Now, once the playoffs start, they stop letting the public come to practices. So the public, and they usually hold them, they hold a lot of them at T-Mobile. And so the public is not there now. The press is. And so hard to say when we might see Stone. My gut is we may not see him for game 1. I think we're probably going to see him sometime in round 1. And I'm not positive we're going to see him for game 1. However, White Cloud, who on the very last episode of this show, just a week ago, you and I talked about how terrible White Cloud's injury looked and how I was convinced that was it, that we weren't going to see him for the entire playoffs. I was totally wrong, and I'm glad I was totally wrong. He's practicing with the team and is highly likely to be available for game 1 of the playoffs, which is outstanding news, which brings me to my next point, which is the Golden Knights defense. And if the VGK keep playing their defensive structure the way they do under Cassidy's systems, they're one of the best defenses in the league. They could be the best defense in the league. It's very close. And what they do so well is they choke teams out and they keep them to the outside. They limit their high danger chances. And we have a listener question later on that'll touch on this a little bit more in depth at the end of the episode. But if Vegas continues to play structured defense the way they do, it takes a lot of the stress and the pressure really off of the individual performers. And then they can be that depth team that they always are, where this scoring is spread out throughout the lineup and then with Jack Eichel being a difference maker, and Stone, frankly, Stone is a difference maker. Now, who knows where he's going to be? Is he going to be at 100%? Like, is it going to take him a while to settle in? But we've seen him be a big difference maker in playoff games past. And just his presence back with the team as the captain, I think, is a huge boost psychologically for the team, who, by the way, was already really rolling before the playoffs start. So Vegas is starting to look like a serious juggernaut, and I feel pretty good that they're going to win the series. You never know, but analyzing the two teams the way they stand right now, and like you said, Hellebuck could make it a headache for them, though, for sure. So
he could. A bit like we were saying in terms of Fleury and the Minnesota series, I could see Hellebuck. He's the big difference. I mean, Winnipeg have got other stars, Connors and Scheifele, etc. But I just feel like even all of those to one side, I think Vegas can take them. But if Hellebuck is like Vezina Hellebuck and unstoppable Hellebuck, you got a problem.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the wild, when I say wild card, I'm not talking about playoff rankings. That's the wild card in the traditional sense of the word of this series is Hellebuck, and how well does he play? So it's going to be a good series. It's good that they got top seed, because I think this is the best draw that Vegas could have gotten probably out of all the Western teams. But,
I think so.
But that the old adage, no such thing as an easy playoff game. Winnipeg's not going to be an easy out. That's for sure.
No, the two games in Winnipeg are going to be, there's going to be a lot of pressure on the Vegas team. Winnipeg are going to be out in force. It's going to be a sold-out arena. It's going to have the whiteout where it's going to, and that's, I love the idea. Somebody posted on Twitter about Vegas doing like a gold rush, I think they called it, which everyone wears gold. And if it wasn't for the fact that I don't like the gold jersey, I'd be fully behind that.
Yeah, exactly. I think they've tried it at some regular season games in the past, like Gild the Fortress or something they called it. I think they have attempted that. We'll see if they give it another go this time around. Now that the gold jerseys are more established, it would be easier to pull something like that off, probably. But
yeah, exactly.